Okay. hope, hope everyone hears me loud and clear. Just getting connected here. Welcome to the webinar for today. It's another 2 weeks. Ashley, Anthony, see you in the chat. Thanks for joining, guys. This is an exciting one because we're going to be talking about a lot of product development that has been taking place on SiteStacker, and also product development that is being planned to take place. And so we're really going to get right into the details. I'm going to have to get kind of into it because there's quite a lot to cover, which is good news. That means that we've been doing a lot. And I can say without a shadow of a doubt that our team has been working really hard to bring these improvements to all of the SiteStacker users that are using the software. So quick note, we are going to have a wheel of names where we're going to spin the wheel, and one of you is going to win Old Florida coffee and a mug. Very exciting. That's lucrative stuff right there. So make sure you stick around for the end so that you can see if you won or not. And so with all that being said, I'm going to share my screen. We're going to get right into it. One more quick note is that if you have questions, just like always, feel free to put it in the chat towards the end of the webinar. I would love to answer them. But we have a lot of things to cover today and a lot of updates. So let's get right into it. Give me 1 second as I share my screen. Okay. All right. So you should be seeing SiteStacker's latest and greatest right here. That's where we're going to start. One of the things I wanted to make sure we did here was actually take a little tour at what has come out, because we understand that in the busyness of life, we try to send these updates via email and let everyone know what's been updated. But sometimes it gets lost. And so this was a great chance to just take a look at what has been updated in the past year and a half or so on SiteStacker. And a lot of this is going to come with training resources to show you how you can leverage these parts of the tool, which we will send after this. All the links that I mentioned today will be sent in a post follow-up email. So let's just get started. Take a look. So we're going to start with SitePlanner, website CMS. This is our content management system. And there have been a lot of updates to SitePlanner. For those of you who are on base template, you know that one of the premises is that it's a living and breathing template that is the foundation of your website's template. So even if you've done customizations on top of it, you're going to receive quite a bit of updates. And we've done quite a bit of updates. And I want to show you kind of what we've done. As a reminder, and a lot of you are probably using this, but for those of you who aren't, there is a world map module that was published, and this was published to base template, I want to say maybe 2 years ago. Time goes by fast. But I noticed that a lot of clients have not used this yet unless we've done it in a project. And so I wanted to make a point of this. This is a really awesome module that allows you to publish dynamic content, leveraging the tags that you're already using inside of your SitePlanner system. And you can publish it in an interactive way where without needing to load a new page, users can see everything that you have to offer, whether it's a project, opportunity, or anything like that. Paired with this, one of the training links we'll send will show you how you can build this world map module on your existing base template website, and you could do that today. So we're going to be sending you that link so you can know how to leverage this tool. It's really awesome. So next up, animated timeline module. Really quick, for the questions, if you end up pushing a question referring to a specific feature, can you just mention the feature you're referring to in the question so that I know what you were talking about towards the end? Thank you. Animated timeline module. So this is another module that's come up, and this was a module that allows you to organize content in a timeline. This is really nice when you want to just show a progression of events. Obviously, one of our organizations here is using this to show the history of their organization. There's all types of different scenarios you could come up with. There will also be a training session or training document coming for this one. I don't think it's there yet, but we'll build one and make sure we get it to you. Another one that came out was a whole host of fade-in animations. We added this about a year ago to base template. And these fade-in animations, as you can see in the GIF, hopefully it's not too choppy, we leveraged this on our current website, which we launched in September. And the SiteStacker site, just so everyone knows, the SiteStacker site SiteStacker.com was built entirely on our base template without any template customization whatsoever. And so you'll see how we did that. One of the ways we did that was with this Fade In Animations view class. And if you go to that site, it looks like it was custom. And that was kind of the idea, is we wanted to leverage our tool without doing any customizations to show what was possible in base template. So feel free to go to SiteStacker.com anytime you want to see how we were able to do that. And remember, no custom template adjustments were made on that site. Fade In Animations is one of the things you can do. This can be applied on any wrapper. And so when you publish any content inside a wrapper, if you add a fade in left, fade in right, then it will actually fade in that content when you scroll past it. And so this is a really nice way to make your site pop and add a little more interaction. Okay, with that in mind, I'm going to get to the exciting stuff if you're not excited yet. Today, you may have received an email. And if you haven't, you should check your inbox. And if you haven't, then you should let our support team know so we can get you on the list. But we actually today are working for the next week on officially pushing the largest base template update we have ever done, which is really exciting. There's a lot of views and view classes in here, and I want to kind of go over what this is really quickly. You'll have an email, we have a video, we have release notes. So we have a lot of documentation, and every single thing that we've pushed in this update has full training documentation, which is very exciting. So first up, recurring toggle. So this is something that maybe some of you have. You've probably seen that some SiteStacker clients have leveraged a tool like this. Before we did this custom, but we decided we wanted to bring this into base template. And what this means is that per each content item, you can dictate whether you want a recurring toggle to show up. And this allows donors to notify or notate that they want it to be a recurring gift before they get to checkout. And so this is a really nice ease of life feature, just adding that added level of user experience that we're always trying to pursue. Next up, giving pop-up. This has been one that I've been excited about for a while. We've had multiple clients do this custom, and we decided we're going to make it available on base. And what this allows you to do is build a custom pop-up that has different tabs. You can see General Fund and Support a Missionary there. And in those tabs, you're able to publish either a search where you can search for missionaries and receive live results, or even just give to the General Fund or any project that you decide to publish there. And what this does is it allows you to link it from a header menu item so that when someone clicks give, they don't have to load a new page, but they can receive this pop-up and get straight to checkout. And this will allow you to get more entries to checkout right from the home page or whatever page the donor happens to be on. This is a really nice feature. And again, training documentation for how to set this up on your site will be sent after this webinar. Okay, drop shadow. This allows you to just add a drop shadow to any wrapper that you publish. And again, this is just a simple feature that allows you to add a little more dynamic interaction to your base template website. The more features we add, we're always thinking of how can we add a feature that allows a base template website to distinguish itself from other websites and feel more custom without needing to do custom code. And that's what this one is. So next up, angled views. This allows you to take a background wrapper and a background and add an angle that would go down. And this is really supposed to be a way to make the scrolling through content happen more seamlessly. So instead of feeling like squared off sections on your homepage, you can add an angled view to feel like you're flowing with the page. And you can do this on any background color you want throughout your site. And again, training documentation is coming. If it seems like I'm going fast, that's because there's still a ton to get to. Offset overlapping views. This is a way, and this is really an important one. This is a way to take content and allow it to overlap and offset with other background wrappers. So that means that instead of having separate sections similar to the angled views, you can have content overlap multiple sections, which makes it feel like a 3D interaction rather than a 2D interaction. And that's really an awesome way to leverage this view to make your site feel more custom. And again, training documentation is with this one. And I just want to mention, I'm excited to see how different organizations leverage views like this, because it's just a tool in your toolbox. It's not a specific outcome. So if you get creative, you can create really cool things with this type of view. So a couple quick notes on what else is included in this base template update. Flexing, this allows you to quickly just add a flex and then specify 3 columns. And basically this is a quick way. Before you had to do kind of 1/3, 1/3, 1/3. Now you can just do flex 3 and it will organize all the different items inside of a wrapper into 3 horizontal or 3 vertical columns. And that really makes it easy to arrange multiple content without having to add a bunch of different wrappers. So this is kind of an ease of life enhancement. Anyone who's in Site Planner, I think you'd appreciate this one. I know our team has so far. So last thing, special padding. You get some new special padding options that, again, are going to allow you to get more precise with the layout of your website. This is kind of, again, an added layer of interaction that you have to get precise with how things end up publishing on your site. Okay, and then last thing here for the base template update, we have added WebP image format support. I know this has been requested by some of you, but this has actually been something we just need to do. Images will be compressed by 25%, so keep that in mind. You're still going to want to resize your images, and this is the point where I just do a disclaimer. If you haven't resized your images or your images are too large, then that's definitely affecting your load time on your website. So I highly recommend. There's a lot of different compression third-party tools that will take an image file and compress it. And if you then reformat that file to be a WebP image, which is much more efficient for page load times, then you're going to be able to do that in base template now, which that wasn't functionality before, but this is quickly becoming an industry standard. So I highly recommend, as you guys manage your websites, to upload in WebP format, and you're going to see the benefits of that on your load times. Okay, so then that's the base template updates. You should have received an email. There's full release notes. There's full training documentation. Please take a look at that. Have fun with it. Get in the tool and see what you can create. But now I need to get to the next evolution. So I know that's a lot. There's a lot more. The next evolution of our site planner CMS, which is Kustomize. And some of you may be familiar with this. If you were at SiteStacker Conference, then you're definitely familiar. If you weren't at SiteStacker Conference, you still might have been using this as kind of an early beta tester, but this is a pretty game-changing tool. Kustomize is an in-screen editor. So you can go to your page on your SiteStacker website and make adjustments. Now, quick note, this is not where you're going to change content. This is where you're going to change the general and global styling of your website. So easily change where your website's color palette in about 2 minutes, as you can see in that GIF, and then publish it, and all of a sudden the color palette will change. So that's colors 1 through 4. In addition to that, you can access the entire Google font library. So if you want to change the font that your headers are using and the font that your body font is using, you can do that basically in the click of a button, as well as changing the font weight and the color of that font as a default. This just, again, is going to allow you to get creative with your styling. Previously, you would have to work with us to do some like a few hours of work to change the CSS in your template. You won't have to do that again once you get Kustomize. Modify all H1 through H6 classes with unique specifications. So this allows you to get all of your H1 through H6 classes, change the color, change the font weight, change the font that's referenced out of your primary 2 fonts, and even the size of each of those. This is going to introduce a whole new element of creativity and styling guidelines. And that's something I recommend with every website, is figure out what your styling guidelines are. And now when you do that, you have access to change that and customize at your will. Which is really cool. And this is, again, a really big game changer when it comes to how we manage websites in SiteStacker. And it's the beginning. It's just the beginning. So in addition to that, you'll be able to completely adjust all the styling of your website's buttons. You can round the corner, you can round the padding, you can change the font size, the text size, you can change the width. You can basically make that button as weird as you want. You can see on that screen, I made it really big. Probably not something you would want to do. The point is, you can do it. And that's really cool. We've unlocked the ability to change your button styling completely there. Lastly, take full control of the look and feel of your forms. And this is really a cool one. You can actually apply customized styling to your Motion 2 forms. So if you have Motion 2 forms like this interest form here, and you want to make the form fields more engaging, for instance, what I did here is, you can see at some point there, I changed it to black. backgrounds with white text, which helps it pop. That's just a really cool way to engage people with your form. And now you can manage that at will through Customized, which is just really cool. And then lastly, it's not showing the video, sadly, but you can easily style your giving form. So in the same way you can style these form fields here in the Motion 2 side, you can style your giving form as well. So if you have suggested amounts, you're able to change the styling there, and you can also change the styling of the give button, make that more engaging. Oh, there it is. Ah, beautiful. So that's me doing that. And so I think that's the last point on Customize. So yeah, that's the last point. Basically what this is in a nutshell is access for you as a site planner user to be able to change all the styling of your site whenever you want, very easily. And it's really a game-changing tool because you see those edits live in page. And again, this is the beginning. It's basically a proof of concept. We plan on many future enhancements to this tool in the future. Now, it is compatible with all base template SiteStacker sites. So if you aren't on base template, sadly, there's no way for us to make this tool compatible because it has to utilize the same template variable structure. So if you are on base template, there is a small amount of time that it will take for us to enable your site to be compatible with Customize, just because this is a very huge tool. So we have a sign up form. If you'd like to add Customize to your website, to Site Planner, then you can go to the link, which we will send after this, sign up, and we will go ahead and give you an estimate of what it will take. You're looking at about 2 to 8 hours of work, depending on how custom your website is. But we'll make sure to get very precise with that estimate. And I highly recommend you do this because I've already had such fun. And part of the reason that sitestacker.com website looks so custom, but it's only on base template, is because we utilize Customize to adjust all the styling. So there's just a whole world of possibilities that you can achieve with Customize. But when you put that together with all the base template updates that were announced today, you now have a ton of possibilities when it comes to building websites on SiteStacker. And so if you want help doing that, there's a lot of training documentation. But in addition to that, you can reach out to our support team and schedule a training call with one of our in-house experts, Site Planner experts, and we'll definitely want to hop on a call with you and show you all the possibilities, even brainstorm. We're here to help you build really cool and engaging websites. So with that being said, that's the end of kind of what's happened so far in Site Planner. And of course, there's more coming in the future. We'll get into that, but there's been a lot that's done. And so I'm really happy to share all that because just so you guys know, it's not easy building those things. It takes a lot of work. I've spent time with just looking at it with our developers, and man, they spend such amazing efforts on all of these tools. And it's very important that we get them working the right way. That's because we love just providing more value for the tool set. And so hopefully you enjoyed that. Now let's get to the back office because we've done things there as well. So reporting, business intelligence, back office efficiency, that's a big part of our tool. And we're always looking at ways to improve that. Here's some of the ways we've improved that so far. Here's a little evolution of SiteStacker donor management. I'm going to breeze through this. This is just kind of a historical look. In 2018, we launched a fully functional donor management system. So I don't know if all of you know that, but it wasn't that long ago that we didn't have donor management. And then we decided to launch it due to demand, really. And then in 2020, we launched a powerful business intelligence reporting tool. And some of you may not know that, but that's been what's fueling a lot of the reports that you're seeing. What's cool about that is that reporting tool is accessible by admins. So we have a process of training. If you have someone who you want to get into the business intelligence tool, we can train them on how to use it. And then you can start building these custom reports utilizing this business intelligence tool for your organization, which is really exciting. And there's a lot that can be done there. 21 through 23, numerous enhancements in functionality, efficiency, and usability. We've just always been working. Sometimes you don't even see the work, but hopefully you feel it. And hopefully it just makes your life a little bit easier. We've done a lot of that. But the next evolution, yeah, there's another next evolution. You may or may not know about this, but we have now added customizable charts and graphs as a functionality of our business intelligence tool. And what this means is that on that same business intelligence tool where you can build infinite amount of reports, which can query any data inside of your database on your installation, you now can pair that with a customizable chart or graph, which means that you can create really, really engaging insights. You can build a chart or graph report for basically anything that you want. This is a just quick example of what we consider like an executive dashboard. Let me see year to date last year. Let me see the count of new sponsors that we have each year, just in a quick visual way, new donors that we have each year in a pie chart. There's so many different ways we can arrange insights. And part of this is, on the website side, that's how you're generating engagement. But on the back end side, you want to be able to track how well you're doing on that side or any of your marketing initiatives. And so we want to make sure we're building new and enhanced ways for you to be able to do that. And this charts and graphs tool is for sure going to be a way you can leverage that. So visualize key insights quickly. This is another way that you can leverage charts and graphs. Here's a quick overview of projected revenue by year in a pie chart, top donors by projected, and then projected versus received. So as you know, we track offline recurrings, what you would basically usually call pledges. We call offline recurrings. And based on the offline and online recurrings, we're able to create projected revenue inside of your system, SiteStacker system, based on the data there. And so this is just a quick way now you can quickly visualize using charts and graphs what you're projected to receive versus what you actually receive, which is just fantastic. And again, these are examples. This by nature is a very broad tool that you now have access to. So the actual list of potential outcomes is not something I could even come up with because it's pretty endless. But these are some examples to get the wheels turning. And if you get access to the business intelligence tool through the training, then you'll be able to start explore some of those possibilities and share them with us, because one of the things we want to do is be able to share what we're building, not just with the SiteStacker team, but even you share that stuff with other organizations who are using SiteStacker, which is a big value of mine, because if we can share information, we can build better together. So align teams. You can use key metrics to show teams real-time status of critical initiatives. And then you can even speed up critical decisions. This is going to help you make informed decisions. So again, just wanting to show you some of the possibilities that this introduces. All right. Back office efficiency. Now, again, I'm kind of going through this pretty fast. And so I want to make sure that I have time for questions and everything at the end, because we haven't even gotten into product roadmap yet. But back office efficiency is another thing that we've been working on. And if we go into this, you can see that we have introduced international currency support through integrations. And now we support potentially up to 135 plus international currencies. Now, it's not something we just turn on. Obviously, there would be a project to enable this. But if you're an organization who has global support and you're trying to wonder, how do we consolidate this? There is a way now to consolidate online giving efforts globally through SiteStacker. It's pretty complex. We've seen now, I think the highest usage has been, I think, about six currencies in one installation. But there's a lot of potential there. And you can see this is just an example of how we built a giving module where you can change the currency and it actually changes your projected impact based on the rate that's uploaded. And so this is a really potentially awesome feature. And what we're seeing is, again, as the world gets smaller, our ability to consolidate global efforts into one place becomes more and more of a feasible idea. And we're trying to make sure we can support that in multiple ways. Here's one of the ways we can, through international currency support. Awesome. Batch entry enhancements. I don't have any pictures here. I just want to say we did beef up our batch entry tool quite a bit, and now supports an insane amount of entries in one batch, and even an insane amount of designations per transaction. And so again, I don't know if that's something that everyone's going to use, but when the time comes where you need like 70 designations in a transaction, that comes in handy. And so we have definitely beefed up our batch entry tool and our contribution offline entry tool. And then lastly, I want to look at automation. Obviously, if you've been around Motion 2.5, we have our Motion 2 tool. We have a Motion 2.5 update that most of you are on. If you've joined with us in the past 4 years, then you came on Motion 2.5 by default. If you've been with us for longer, then you might be on Motion 2. You might want to just check that. But 2.5 was a ginormous update to Motion. And so we haven't done a ton of other updates to Motion. We have brought conditional logic which is something that if you're not aware of, I'd definitely ask our support team about that, because it really simplifies your ability to create A/B logic on a workflow without having to create a ton of different triggers. However, I didn't even put that down here. That's just a total side note, but it's something to look into. When it comes to automation, there's another side of our tool that supports pretty awesome automations, and that's Spark. And if you haven't used Spark or gotten familiar with it before, I highly recommend you do now, because before, the way that Spark was structured was very, I guess, restrictive is one of the ways we could say it, because we always considered it an internal tool that we used in SiteStacker to help different components interact with each other in an automated fashion. And what Spark is it's an ability to create an event and then create an outcome based on that event. And it's just it's an automation tool. Think of your iPhone. I think they call it Siri shortcuts, or whatever the automation tool is on your OS. There's a bunch of these now. Spark is like that for SiteStacker. But what we did is we restructured Spark completely. And the reason we did this is because we realized we want this to be a tool that clients can take advantage of, that you can build your own automations out of. And there's so much here. If you want training, we have some documentation on the website, the training site. Feel free to look at that, but I would definitely recommend just getting in the tool and playing around with it, particularly in a sandbox. If you have a sandbox, each of you should have a sandbox, so that you don't trigger off any automations that destroy your database. I'm just kidding. You won't destroy your database, but you don't want to make any mistakes here. So that being said, this is a really great way now to interact with the potential for automation in SiteStacker. And there's a lot of potential here. So that's why we completely restructured Spark, so that you can do that a lot easier. If you have questions, reach out to our support team, but I definitely recommend taking advantage of that. Okay, take a breath. We have covered quite a bit. So what I'm going to do is, before we get to the future of SiteStacker, which is now looking at what we are looking at as we look forward and all the product roadmap items we're planning on achieving through the next year, I want to take a break and look at the questions, because I think this is a good point to address the questions of the updates. So let's look through these really quick. The world map can be used on the backside so we can see givers. Elena, so we do have a map tool that uses Google Map API, and you can use that in the dashboard so that you can see where all your donors are based on their addresses. That's actually a separate tool that's been a feature on SiteStacker, but there should be training documentation, and I would recommend reaching out to our support team. They can show you how that's done. You'll need to do some Google Map API configuration to get it enabled, but it is a really cool tool, and it allows you to look at anyone in your CRM based on the map to see where they're located. On the world map module, we really need to be able to filter out things in restricted access countries, or even use pseudonyms for regions or countries. Yes, Bucky, that's entirely possible. So something about that world map module that I didn't mention is it's actually technically not even a map. It's technically a search module that doesn't allow you to enter a search. And so what that means is you can determine whatever tag criteria you want. It doesn't have to be regions, or it doesn't have to be anything. It can be whatever you want, whatever tag you want to filter by, with whatever content you want to filter by, and whatever background image you want to put on it. And there's a lot of creative ways to leverage it. We actually have an example page that we can send after this webinar of how we've built on that world map module something that's not a map at all, but still leverages the potential there. And so you have the ability to relabel, to restructure that map. And I really encourage everyone to get creative with how they use that world map module, because it's really cool. So let's see. Yes, regular update. So someone mentioned if we're going to start giving regular updates. That is something in terms of what we are adding to the tool. Yes, we are working really hard on making sure we have better communication processes and even a better release process, which I'm going to get into here on the product roadmap, so that you guys are more informed of what's being added to the tool and how to leverage it. This base template update is a good sample of that, because we've actually added not just an announcement of what's coming, but we've added training documentation so you know how to use it and speak to it. And so that's the new era in terms of product updates. Hopefully that helps. How do we add international currency? So Ashley, international currency is something that you can add in a project with us. We'll have to explore what your needs are. There's a lot of complexity there, obviously. The summary is we're able to do it. We need to now work probably with your team. So I would reach out to our sales team, or even you can reach out to support and they can connect you so that we can talk about what the potential of adding international currency support for your installation would look like. How do you get the charts and graphs? So Annette asked, how do you get the charts and graphs? Basically, that is a feature that we have available on our business intelligence tool. So if you have what I think sometimes we call it admin report access, then you have the ability to create charts and graphs right now. If you don't, then the one thing you need is access to our business intelligence tool from an administrative level, and we can get you that. Just reach out to our support team and they will help funnel you through the process so that we can get you trained on how to use the tool, and then you can start building. And we'll have a lot of documentation to come with that as well, which we're working on finalizing. Probably won't be in this email that's coming after the webinar, but will be coming soon because it's a very in-depth tool. Okay, I think that's all the questions for the updates that have come. Hopefully those answers helped give you some clarity. If not, again, our support team is awesome and they can help give you some more clarity on some of these updates. And we look forward to hearing more from you. So that being said, we're going to get to some more excitement. We're going to be looking at the future of SiteStacker. And so I want to give some context first. I always like to give context. It makes things make sense. Context is key. Well, I forgot I had that in there. So there you go. I'm pretty consistent with my views. So here's some context. SiteStacker was birthed out of custom development projects. I don't know how many of you know that, but in the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth, and then way later, SiteStacker came out of a desire to help ministries basically solve things that weren't being solved in the software realm. And so that was the origin of SiteStackers. Let's just do these custom development projects with ministries, and then whatever we develop, we're going to build into a tool that can be shared with other ministries. And for those of you who don't know it, there's a little fun fact or Easter egg for you. For those of you who do, it's kind of good to be reminded. And so the majority, well, before I get to the next point, I just want to mention that's not true anymore. As many of you know, we're now more of a product company, but all of the product features that we have were built in coordination with real needs that ministries have, or projects that we did custom development work on. And in the past couple of years, we've shifted from doing custom development projects to more so doing implementation projects and bringing the product roadmap in-house. Because we have more clients now, that seemed like the most efficient way to bring real value, because we were hearing from you guys all the time through our feature suggestion form or through just conversations, what features would be helpful for you as a SiteStacker user. And you'd be surprised how many of those things are similar to other organizations. And then there's probably some things that maybe that's just something you would like, and it's not necessarily something that's going to help everyone else. So we try to figure out what's the highest impact solutions, and that's why we brought the product roadmap in-house. So the majority of our development time goes towards internal product development. The majority of all the development time we have now, which is very different than what it used to be, is not in an active project, but it's in a planned out product roadmap. And our first official product roadmap was built in 2022. I don't know how many of you know that. Now, things came up and we weren't able to follow through on all the things we had set out to do. And that's part of pivoting. That's part of being agile. However, one thing that's cool is for the first time ever, I believe we have an achievable product roadmap through Q1 of 2025. And I'm very excited to unveil this. This is how confident we are. Not that we're going to achieve everything here, but this is how confident we are in the direction we're heading as a software. And this is very much so us trying to reflect back what we think would be valuable to you based on what you share with us. So if you don't share with us, I'm sorry that your voice hasn't been applied to this, but that should be an encouragement to share more with us. We want to hear. So Collaboration is key. That's the first step. So what I want to mention is we have a new voting and feature suggestion mechanism. So previously you would suggest a feature through a form, and we do look at that. I've looked at all your feature suggestions, I promise. I know that it might feel like there's not a lot of interaction, so maybe you feel discouraged, but we do see that, and it does impact what we end up building. However, we decided to make that a public facing feature suggestion tool. And what that means is you can suggest features and it will go on a form right on our training site. And everyone who has a SiteStacker training account can vote for features they think would be most helpful. And again, this is a way to allow us to hear what's really going to be impactful, not what we think is going to be impactful. So I encourage you guys, we'll have the link to that. That's launching literally today. It's launching today. So go in there, suggest some features, and vote on the ones you think are going to be impactful, and then bookmark the tab so you can come back later and see if any new ones have been suggested, because you might have shared solutions that you want to benefit from, just like another organization. So this is another way to promote community and collaboration between SiteStacker organizations. Very excited about this and to see what you suggest. With that in mind, let's get into the roadmap. So we're going to first start with website and online giving features that we're going to be adding. First up, fundraising 2.0. That's what I'm calling it. This is basically a complete redesign and refactoring of our advocacy fundraising tool. Now, I want to be fully transparent. I don't know how many of you are using this advocacy fundraising tool as much as you could be. This is an amazing tool. It's basically GoFundMe, peer-to-peer style fundraising baked into your website and online giving, so that any project, missionary, or any giving initiative that you have published on your website, your users are not only have the ability to give to that project or missionary, but they have the ability to raise funds for it and share that fundraising campaign with their social media profile or their social media following and set their own goals. And we've seen some clients take this and leverage six-figure revenue just from fundraising advocacy campaigns alone. And one of the things we've noticed is this tool was developed quite a while ago. In some ways, it was ahead of its time. And so we've decided to relook at it to make it more user-friendly, more interactive, add some more functionality so that this tool can be used even more. And I believe this is probably one of the greatest marketing tools that you have access to. I think it's more impactful than Google Ads. I think it's more impactful than many other things because it leverages the people who already are involved with you and want to impact your organization more, to give them an option to do that, which ends up being free marketing for you, but an easy way for them to extend their impact. It's a win-win. And so we're going to put a lot of resources towards improving that. In fact, we've already done that. You're going to see some fruits of that, but in 2024, we expect to have a fundraising 2.02 out. I definitely encourage you to be on the lookout for that. Okay, Customize 2.0. I know I just announced Customize 1.0, but we've actually audio got lost there. So, all right. I think our internet might have disconnected a little bit and then decided to mute me. I think our software is tired of hearing me talk. Hopefully you guys aren't. So that being said, Customize 2.0, I don't know where I lost you, but basically this is a pretty quick update. Audio's from my computer, not my mic. That's a very good insight. The quality must have dropped off. We don't want that. So let's see if I can change that real quick. Looks like that is not an option. We're running some tests here while I talk, so I don't want to interrupt much of this. Sorry for the delay here. You know, just give me 1 second, and we'll see. All right, I should be back here. Is that better? Is the audio better now? I think we should be hooked up. No, it's not better. Darn. All right. It's the same. It's the same. We're going to rock with it. We're going to rock with it. As long as you can hear me, quality is not as important. So let's rock with it. So Kustomize 2.0. Kustomize 2.0 is going to be the enhancement of Kustomize 1.0. And again, Kustomize was a proof of concept. So with Kustomize 2.0, we're looking at just improving, adding more functionality there. And we'll be looking at that for a while because I think this is going to be a really cool tool that we're going to build on that you're going to see a lot of updates to. So that's looking at 2024. Next up, Checkout 2.0. This is very exciting. As you know, or you may not know, so I'm going to just pitch it right here. Our checkout has the best tracked industry average conversion rate out of any checkout that I've ever heard of. So in terms of nonprofit checkout, it's one of the highest, it is the highest performing checkout analytically. So that's great. And because of that, we haven't really touched our checkout very much because if it ain't broke, don't fix it. However, there are still ways to improve it. And so we are working and have already begun working, and we're in many ways testing and design phase of some functionality to really improve our checkout experience. And again, we're not trying to improve the analytics because it's already the best performing. It averages an 83% checkout conversion rate. The nonprofit average is 17%. So if you didn't know that, there's some math for you. Math is fun. However, we want to improve your ability to utilize that great checkout. What that means is we want to unlock your ability to publish it in unique and dynamic ways throughout your website. What does that mean? It means a new shopping cart. It means being able to publish an in-page checkout so that I can check out on the project page that I'm looking at without linking to a new page. It means publishing the checkout inside of a flyout menu. It means applying 10 times the customization options because this checkout is now going to be a module that you have the ability to customize and configure. That's super exciting, and we've already begun that and have a really solid proof of concept. We expect to see the first iteration of that rollout in 2024, and I can't wait to announce that because I think it's going to introduce quite a few things that are not going to just keep up with industry standard, but I think are going to set new industry standards. And I know that's a bold claim, but I truly believe that. And then once you see what we're working on, I think you'll see that. Last thing here is we're planning on an Apple Pay integration. There are some things beyond our control that might impact that based on basically legal things. So that is on the plans, although it's not certain whether that will be able to come in 2024. I would love to do that, but some things are in other companies' hands that are bigger companies, such as credit card companies and processing companies. So all that being said, it's something we are exploring doing in 2024 if the opportunity arises. Okay, next up, back office functionality updates. This is a big one. We want to keep improving the functionality in the back office, and so let's show you what we're looking at. First up, we are actively involved in the exploration and investigation phase right now of a texting integration. I think this is going to be a really, really awesome update when it comes. We're still working through a lot of the dynamics of what it will look like, but it's on the docket and has already begun. We've already begun to work on this. But this is going to allow you to text your CRM contacts directly from your dashboard. So the same way you can interact with all of your contacts through email from SiteStacker, you're now going to be able to do it from texting. And so for those of you who are mobilizers or use mobilization on SiteStacker, this could be a game changer because instead of sending an email update to an applicant when they have a task assigned, you can send a text update and bring those same variables in there. And then we can also do automated texts based on user actions. So integrating the texting integration with Spark and Motion so that you can send automated texts whenever someone gives $50 or more or something like that. There's a whole world of possibilities using that same SiteStacker functionality that introduces all these possibilities, but adding a new layer of interaction via texting to that. That's what we're planning on. I think it's going to be a really nice update in terms of in interacting with your constituents. All right, next thing, mass send year-end statements. So you guys are probably still, some of you are probably still involved in working on year-end statements now. It's a beast of a project. And as you know, with SiteStacker, any of your online users can self-serve their own year-end statements. That's a great functionality. We love it, and we recommend pushing that as much as possible because it takes that administration work off of your team's hands and allows the donors to serve it to themselves. So there's that. We did a webinar on how you can do that. Highly recommend you utilize that. However, we are also working on a feature, and we're planning on a feature that will send all your donors their year-end statements in the click of a button. That sounds pretty awesome. It is pretty awesome. It's very complex. It obviously is going to require quite a bit of development time, but this is something we are prioritizing this year because I think if we can get this by next year, which again, there's no guarantees in product development, there's only planning, but if we can get it in by the end of next year, I think your year-end statements process is going to look a lot smoother. So we'll be utilizing our business intelligence reports tool and our custom PDF tool to do this, and that's going to be a really nice feature update for back office functionality. And then business intelligence tool enhancements. So as you know, we added charts and graphs. We've added quite a bit of functionality. One of the things we're looking at is saved views, being able to save different presets. When you filter a report, a lot of times those are the same types of filters you want to see over and over again. So we're going to give you the ability to save those views so that you can change the different views that you're looking at. Ability to add aggregates pretty easily, and then the ability to hide and show columns, similar to how our CRM grids function, where you can just show or hide columns. We want to add that functionality to the business intelligence tool. And this is really the reports side. When you're looking at a report that was built in the business intelligence tool, this is adding more interactions so that it's easier to configure different interactions and views. So excited about this. This is kind of business intelligence enhancements. It's kind of a bucket task, but we're excited to add these enhancements to the tool this year in 2024. Next up, we have schedule reports. This is something that's been requested quite a bit as well, and we've heard you and we agree. The ability to automatically send reports to key staff on a recurring schedule. So you can send every month a new update that shows revenue. And the monthly revenue updates, maybe the top donors, whatever you can think of, and you can specify key people to send them to. This is going to be effective, I think, in many ways. For instance, if you want to send an executive a monthly report, I think many of you who work in the finance side are probably generating reports for your finance admin or executives quite a bit. This could save you a ton of time. And it will allow you to just set up these schedules so that the reports that they want to see show up right in their inbox when they want to see them. And you don't really have to do anything. Maybe change the schedule. That's really exciting. So that's something we're definitely dedicated in doing. And you can see the year there is 2025 because it's probably not going to get in 2024 because of the other report and business intelligence tool enhancements we're working on, in addition to a lot of other things behind the scenes. However, when this comes, I think it's going to be a really nice tool. And part of what's happening is when we get that year-end statements feature pushed, that'll kind of pave the way for us to do something like this. So very exciting. And then general enhancements. Just these are some things that are coming in 2024 that you can look forward to. Actually, some of these very, very soon. That are in testing and hopefully ready for release pretty soon here. Improved payment method management. This has been one that if you are on the finance team and interacting with your donors, you probably know that this is a high demand feature update, is improving the way that donors can update their payment methods and then have that update on their schedules, of their recurring schedules, without them having to go back in. That's been something that's caused a lot of confusion. We hear that, we're aware of that, and it's something we're planning on fixing, and it's one of the top priorities. I think this is going to be a great tool that your donors are going to love, and they're going to feel like we're hearing them and that you as an organization are hearing them. And so I'm excited to push that one, hopefully in Q1 or Q2 of 2024. Pre-login token improvements. Pre-login token is a really solid tool. It's more of a back-end tool, but it allows you to send these links that really restrict the access to the links based on criteria we set. So one time that link is clicked, then that link is no longer accessible. And so we've added a ton, well, not a ton, but a few UI UX enhancements to that process that should be coming pretty soon. Another thing we're adding is failed recurring reruns. So when your donor's gift fails 3 times, maybe it's their payment method is out of date, or something like that. Usually that's the problem. But when that happens, we're going to send the donor an email in an automated fashion with a link that allows them to click that link and change their payment method and rerun the recurring, so that they don't have to restart the recurring or the recurring doesn't end, but it allows them to rerun it. And so that's going to allow your donors to basically manage failed recurrings so you don't have to. And it's also going to ensure that you don't miss out on recurrings that you could easily have if there was an easy way to update. So you can see this, we're trying to improve the way that donors can update their own experience, and that's really exciting. So that being said, the next thing here is report load time improvements. This is something we have on the docket. It's a big priority of ours. As you know, when you have databases with tons and tons of data, it can really bog down the load times when you're interacting with in-depth reports. We're going to be working on that. It's not a pretty item, but it is an important one, and it's something we're prioritizing here in 2024. And we hope to have quite a bit of improvement on load times by the end of the year. So very excited about that. Okay, next section, admin insights. We are working, some context here. If you know us and you know that we really love analytics, analytics are a great bedrock to formulate strategy on, and it's a great tool to track how well your strategy is doing. And we have always used Google Analytics for our web analytics. And that's been really great. We've been able to develop KPIs. We've been able to track those KPIs. We've been able to kind of figure out what you should track to determine whether your website's performing well. And through all of that, we've been able to develop really great strategies. However, Google Analytics has updated, many of you know this, and it's now Google Analytics 4. 3 is not supported. And just to be frank, it's not been great. It's been very difficult to use. It's limited in terms of the things you can view. And many of those strategies and those best practices that we track every time, we're just not able to track the same way because Google Analytics 4 didn't consult us when they updated it. I don't know why. But however, it has created a little bit of a nuisance. So we've decided we're not going to just try to make that nuisance work. We're going to develop our own in-house analytics tool. Now, it's not going to be like Google Analytics. It's going to be very simple. It's going to be very straightforward. It's going to give you the analytics that we know you should track. It's probably not going to be as expansive as Google Analytics. That's why we'll still have an integration. But the very simple things like checkout conversion, like page load time, like the speed, the amount of pages that each session has, that's the type of stuff that we're looking at building with this tool. And it's going to allow you to reference those analytics right inside of SiteStacker. And so I know that many of you use us for Google Analytics reporting because trying to learn Google Analytics and SiteStacker is a lot to do. So how much easier will it be when you can just go to your dashboard and see how your website's performing in one view using charts and graphs like what I showed you before? That's what we're planning on adding. It's very exciting, at least for me. And so administrative analytics that will help you track back office efficiency. And this is the next stage. Well, that's going to help us do web analytics a lot easier and surface that data to you. We are also going to be adding back office analytics. And that's something that, again, it's not extremely spec'd out now, but we have a plan for. And I think it's going to be really good because one of the things that I know happens every time when you implement with SiteStacker is you save a lot of back office time. But there's also a lot of potential. There's a lot of margin in how much back office time you're saving and how much you could be saving, even if you're already on SiteStacker. And so we want to build an analytics tool that shows you the results of how much time you actually are saving versus how much time you could be. And then we'll be able to help you hopefully save that time utilizing different tools and processes. So system analytics coming probably 2025. This is a more long-term feature, but I want to mention it because it's an important one as we build strategies and processes as organizations. Okay, track email deliveries and opens. I'm going to go a little bit faster here, but basically this is going to be an expanded integration that we are exploring with SendGrid, which is our current provider that powers our email sending in SiteStacker, that will allow you to track whether emails have been opened or delivered right inside of SiteStacker. And that's just supposed to give you better administrative control. If someone says, hey, I never got this email, you can track whether it's been delivered. You can even see it's been opened and say, hey, that email was opened. Not that we're trying to call you out. That's not the only application, though. There's many different applications for this, just giving you better insights of the emails and all the messaging that's going on from SiteStacker. And that's what we're going to be bringing. Again, this is more of a 2025 one that we're going to be building on just because of capacity and all the things we're already working on here. And then final items. We're just going to look at some final items here. Dashboards 2.0. I'm very, very excited about this one. As many of you know, Dashboards powers a lot of the different admin processes that you're utilizing right now. If you're using mobilization, your life is probably in Dashboards and Motion 2. If you're managing any child sponsorship, your life's probably in Dashboards. You can name it. Your missionaries are managing their fundraising in our dashboards. And so dashboards is an important tool. And it's a really cool tool, and there's a lot you can do with it right now. However, we've realized that it's time to really relook at the UI, the UX, and the different abilities you have when it comes to managing dashboards. And so we're looking at completely overhauling our design of the dashboard template, revamping our CRM grids and the way you interact with them, and really revamping the entire user experience and user interaction across all of dashboards. This is a massive update. We've already begun planning, and I'm really, really looking forward to this. I think it's going to set a new precedence for how dashboards should be interacted with. I'm very excited, and we'll have more updates to come. Again, this is probably a 2025 one. I know we're getting further and further out. Just want to show you what to look forward to. It's a huge feature, but it will be really, really impactful. So looking forward to working on that. And then last thing I want to mention here is all of these features, all of these updates. It was mentioned earlier, can we get communication? Can we hear when these updates are coming? The answer is yes. But on top of that, one of the things we have already begun working on, and it's one of our priorities, we spent quite a bit of time investigating, now developing, doing quite a bit of research on, is completely renovating our release process. As you know, our release process, it's functional, but sometimes we haven't had the best results, and just you knowing what's coming or how to update, what branch to update, there's a lot of complications to it. So we're going to introduce a whole new process that's going to bring added transparency. It's going to be a new focus on quality updates rather than quantity of updates. So instead of receiving an update to SiteStacker like every other week, we're probably looking at quarterly major releases and then patches throughout. And all of these things are going to help us introduce a multi-layered testing process that will help ensure bug-free releases. So we are going to be revamping the amount of effort that we put into testing, designing, QAing, and making sure that every release we push has no adverse effect. So by the time you receive a software update, it's vetted, it's high quality, and it's high impact without any of the trade-off of there being bugs or issues. And it's something we are right in the middle of, and we hope to have this release process rolled out this year so that as we release these other updates, they're released in a very clean and orderly fashion so you can track what's coming and you're able to see everything that happens with your SiteStacker installation. So that's a really big one for us and a big one for everyone. And that's kind of the last one that I'm mentioning in this meeting. And we have reached the end of our presentation right on time. We got about 4 minutes left. So yeah, this is exciting. I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing my screen and so you can not have to look at an end screen so much. And we'll get to questions and answers. So not as many questions, obviously, on the product roadmap. That's super okay because, well, it's just a roadmap. But if you have questions, feel free to email me or support or any of our team to just, hey, what are you thinking about? What are the thoughts behind this? And again, we're going to be sending an email after the webinar with links into training documentation and any other information that correlates with the stuff presented today. So yeah, we're working hard at this. I want to take this moment to give a shout out to our implementation team who works really hard every day on speccing this out, documenting it, developing it, and designing it. And especially our developers who spend a ton of time just developing all these tools. It's not easy, but we have an awesome team and they're dedicated to your guys' success. And I just want to give them a shout out. And I want to thank all of you for your interaction and your feedback that you give us constantly. It's really important and helpful for us to have a channel of communication so that we can know what's working and what's not. And that stuff does make an impact. And so I encourage you to go suggest features and vote for them because that will have an impact on where our roadmap continues to go. All right, with that in mind, we're going to wrap up here. The wheel of names, we got to find a winner. So I'm going to spin the wheel. Let me share my screen again so that you can see the wheel. And I will click to spin. Very nerve-wracking. Ooh, Dwayne Berkey. Dwayne, I hope I pronounced your last name right because I said it with a lot of confidence. Dwayne, you have won the Old Florida coffee, and that will be sending over to you straight to your address if you will reach out to get all that information. Congratulations, and thank you everybody for joining. We look forward to hearing more from you in the future. Have a great day.